Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
I'm Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This video is our reaction to episode 4 of AGT, The Champions. This, I think, was a much better episode than what we saw in episode 3.
Agreed.
I think we just had a great array of talent. I think the big talking point, though, is I don't know if anyone in here necessarily is going to be a winner. We talked over the weekend about Marcelito, Angelina Jordan, the unbeatable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see anyone necessarily overtaking them at the moment, but I think there were some really, really good acts in this episode, and ones that just, regardless of the money or anything else, I'm just really, really psyched to watch them again.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we're going to get to everyone. We'll talk a lot about the results and the success stories. But before we dive in, if you like this video, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. I think just a good starting off point is, who did you actually like the most tonight?
I loved I'm probably going to mispronounce his name.
Oh, Strauss Serpent?
I love him. I love him. Danger acts, contortionist acts, anything like that, I'm all in on them, and he was so good tonight. I really loved him, but I also really loved the silhouettes. They legit made me bawl my eyes out and hug my dog. I couldn't stop crying, and yes, and you had a hugging. It was just so touching and so good, and they get me every time.
I think those are both really, really good acts. I've seen a lot of these shadow dance routines now on various Got Talent shows. Silhouettes were one of the first ones I saw, though, so they kind of do still have a special place in my heart. And I kind of do like the fact that a couple of their little shadow designs they had in this routine still felt fairly obvious that it was humans. I like the tree that had the fingers. That was still okay.
That was cool.
You know it's still humans doing it, but it was still a really cool image that they did. I thought it was creative and moving, very moving. They've always
so moving.
Yeah, they've always been really, really good at that. And Strauss Serpent, they are he is probably one of the best contortionists I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's incredible. And I know that you were talking earlier about Angelina and Marcelito, the unbeatable, but I think that he is at the same level as them. A very different act than what they're doing. But he is doing something in a way that, well, first, there's not very many people that can do that at all. And I've seen lots of contortionists. Like I said, I love this stuff. So he is in a lane of his own when it comes to his craft.
He is. I think that's the hard thing that contortionists always get into is, you're too similar, or it's not as artistic. And I think a lot of that is just, I don't believe in it, but they get hit with that stuff a lot. I think for Strauss Serpent moving forward, he's going to get at least a couple more chances, seemingly.
Yeah.
I would try to find a way to mold what he's doing, which is incredibly awesome, and just keep coming up with new and innovative sort of routines. Try to find a way to tell a story through that medium of dance, because it is a form of dance.
It is.
And so I think the more artistic he can make it from here on out, the even more successful he will be. But these two are not my favorite act of the night.
All right, let's hear it.
Give me Sandou Trio Russian bar possibly murdering this poor woman on stage.
Oh, man, was that a good act. Holy cow. Yeah. There were some really solid acts tonight.
There were some really solid acts. And the hard part, I think, with Sandou Trio is it's hard to do it every single time, because then it's sort of like, it's too similar every time. They get the same thing the contortionists get.
Except with this trio, man, I could watch her do the same thing every time, and I'm never going to get bored of it. It is incredible.
Yeah, it's one thing to do a balance beam routine. It's another thing to flip around in the air and still, I could not.
And blindfolded and still landed.
I think I'm just most impressed by them every time I see them, just because for me, I can't even really walk on that balance beam. My balance is terrible, let alone just like go into the air, do all these flips, blindfolded, and land on it.
Yeah, no, them as a team were really great because, yeah, we've got her, and of course she's the star of it, but the two guys that are holding the beam and making sure she lands and all that sort of thing, they all are just so perfect together in making this happen. And making me feel like she's going to land it every time. That they, together, are going to make sure she doesn't fall on her head.
Yeah. Like, the thing that they have to worry about now is simply, okay, how do you find a way to raise this to another level without doing what they did the first time, which is I think they did this whole, okay, we'll show you we can do other things, and then she was just like playing the piano upside down while singing or something, and it was not great because this is who they are. They are a danger act.
Yeah, they are. And I found that she found so many different ways to do it because not only did she do flips in the air, she did twist flips in the air, and then she did it blindfolded. So my feeling is going into the next round, how can she change that up? Because as much as I would watch her do the same flip over and over again, and I would, and I would pay to watch the same flip over and over again. I don't know that the judges will pay to see the same flips over and over again. They're going to want to see it raised to that next level. So I'm very curious to see what she's able to do next.
One word. Fire.
Okay.
I saw the little preview tease at the very end. It looked, it was a very tiny glimpse. It looks like they may actually set something on fire next time. So that's the only way you can sort of go up. I kind of hope they do it, but I think it seems like we're both kind of in consensus that Silhouette, Sandou Trio, and Strauss Serpent are probably the three best acts from the episode.
Yeah, they are.
I think this is where things
I think that Strauss Serpent is at the same level as V Unbeatable and Jordan and Angeline Jordan and Marcelino.
Yeah.
I think he could win it.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on it because of past AGT history, but, talent-wise...
He has the talent to be there, and he should be there.
Yeah, talent-wise, it's hard to argue with the claim. And this is the other thing that's so interesting, though, about where we are now and sort of being like, okay, who should have been the person who got the judges' save and then gone on to the next round? Because I feel like we're both in agreement that as fun as JJ Pantano was and how I think he had a lot of charm, I think he had a couple of good jokes, I don't think he was the fourth best act of the night.
No, Brian should have gone through.
I feel like Brian should have gone through. I mean, I'll make a case for Connie because I think Connie is very talented.
Yeah,
I think she's got a really cool journey because she was like a little kid when she was first a part of Got Talent like so long ago.
And she has a really cool voice. There was like the song that she did tonight, there's little soft bits. There was some stuff that was really soulful and a little more gritty that I heard in there too, which is quite a range.
And the weirdest thing to me, and it's just the inevitability here is that you're going to compare Brian to Tyler Butler Figueroa because they're both violinists. They're both a part of this show. Tyler seems to have a little bit more success at the moment than Brian. I think Brian is a better violinist, and I understand that he's older, and I understand that maybe he doesn't have he had a really big story the first time that he was on, but he may not have as powerful a story now, but...
Oh, I absolutely agree. Brian is a better violinist, and not just that, but he also has a way better stage presence. He worked the entire audience, down the aisle, worked the entire stage, he is a performer on all levels.
Yeah, he is. He's a performer. He's inspirational. I love the design of his violin.
Yeah, it's right.
I just think he's a really, really cool guy, and I just really like watching him. And I think with this sort of act, sometimes it's hard because you got to kind of balance the effects with also your actual violin playing. But hey, it's disappointing Brian didn't move on, but just go look up Lindsey Sterling and look up the millions upon millions of views and all the money that she's probably sitting on now. She didn't do that well on AGT. So I think Brian he's so talented, he's going to be more than fine. I think Connie is also probably going to be more than fine, especially, back in Britain where she's more known. So it's disappointing that one of those two didn't get the final spot. JJ's fun, but I don't think JJ is going to end up making the top 5 on this season.
No, I don't think he is either.
All right, so is there anyone else from the acts tonight that you think should be in this conversation of, okay, you should have been up there with Brian and with Connie?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, there's some things like Emil. I actually really liked his act tonight. I thought that it was a lot of fun. Do I think that it's like he's a champion for this show? I don't know, but I enjoyed it. Voices of Service, beautiful, beautiful voices. It's just there's so many singers this season, and there's so many singers that are just building something that is incredibly unique, which is really hard to do when you're talking about singing.
I think for me, I admittedly, I wasn't the biggest Voices of Service fan on this past AGT. Like, I recognize their talent, and they are extremely talented. It's just I don't always love acts where I can sort of predict exactly what they're going to do before they come on, and I'm always kind of like, okay, they're going to do a slow, powerful ballad with some harmonies, and I kind of I know where it's going every time, and so I didn't necessarily feel like I needed to see them again, but, I'm not disputing their talent. Evil or Amel, I'm still not sure how to pronounce it, but you're right, he's fun. He is...
he was just, the whole thing just felt really fun.
Yeah.
Like, he just has a good energy. Again, it's about sort of just that performance feel of him. He works the stage. He's got amazing energy. Like, it's not anything where I'm like, oh, wow, I've never seen this before, because I have seen stuff like that before.
Yeah.
But him as a performer had this energy that just when I was watching it, I had this huge smile on my face. And that doesn't necessarily make him a champion, but it definitely gave me a smile, and I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably on my list. He would have probably been at the very bottom of the night, but I like him. I just think that
we're not talking anymore.
Okay, well,
how dare you?
It's not something I find super engaging. I think I've seen too many similar things to it before, but Christian Stoinev and his dog.
He was great.
I've always liked him. I don't think he always necessarily needs the dog, but I'm not one to put a dog out of work here. If the dog wants to continue to be a part of the routine, more power to the dog.
I think there's just something really great about a muscly guy and a teeny tiny dog.
Yeah, they're fun, and I enjoy watching them. Their routines are challenging and interesting, and it's not an act that I really see just about anywhere else. And that's the fun thing about Champions right now, is that I don't think there are too many duds in this episode. Like, even Evil, who I don't think is particularly great, I still found him engaging.
We're not talking.
Well, okay.
Except we still have to talk about Bars and Melody.
I have so many thoughts on this.
Okay, I'm gonna say that they were the bottom for me tonight, and I wasn't sure what it was until the judges mentioned it, which is that it was nerves. And I could feel that there was something that felt very, like, uncomfortable a bit about what was going on with their act. It didn't feel like, I wasn't sure if it was like, are they not in sync? Are they not rehearsed? They're not, like, something just didn't feel right about it. I've never seen them before, so I don't have anything to compare them to. But for me, it just felt like something was just a little bit off.
It's a fascinating sort of story here, because I haven't seen every single performance that Bars and Melody have ever done, but I remember their first audition a long time ago when they came out, and they were much more rap focused then, and they did this song about bullying, and it really took off all over Britain, and I think it got viral in other places too. And it's a case study in a lot of ways of, you go on AGT, or in their case Britain's Got Talent, at a certain age, and I think your age is a part of the appeal of your story. And I'm not taking away from the talent that they had, but it was, here are these two young guys talking about something that's happening around them, but then you get older and you lose a little bit of that like awe factor, where you're not like seen as, oh, look at these two cute kids anymore, telling their story. And now you have to figure out kind of where do you go from here. And I wish for them that they had a little bit more of just a guide as to where they're supposed to go after that point. Because, yeah, they didn't feel like the same two performers who I saw on Britain's Got Talent a long time ago. And I think I'm more, like, I got mad when Howie pressed the golden button, then we pressed the buzzer on them, but that's mostly because I'm emotionally attached to them.
Right, and for me, I've never seen them before, so when Howie pressed that buzzer, I was like, if I was a judge, I would have as well. There was just something that I couldn't put my finger on that was off about it. And I'm not taking away from their rapping ability, it's great, but there was something that just felt off.
Yeah, and we'll still be talking after this because I'm not mad at you for this.
Oh, but we're not talking about that other thing.
Yeah, I'm still aware of that.
The meal is
still over there, but I'm not mad at you for this because I feel like if I was in your situation, I would probably feel something similar because I don't think they were great, but I also feel like I know all the potential that's in there, and I think I just feel for them because it's got to be kind of a weird situation to be known for something so specific when you're so young, and then you have to figure out what your next act is, and that's really, really hard. But this was, I think, a really fun show, a lot of variety.
Yeah, there was a lot of variety.
Yeah, and a lot of really, really good acts, and I'm kind of excited to see where we go now entering the semifinals. But with that, let's hear from you guys. What did you think about America's Got Talent, the champions tonight? Who are you rooting for moving forward? Share in the comments, and if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking that link in the description to the CARTERMATT store, and we'll see you here next time.